Hello, good evening. Today is day 13 of Breakup Recovery series. My name is Irina Shahovtsov. I am certified NLP, timeline therapy, and hypnotherapy coach. And today we are talking about change your story, change your life. This is for people who want to change. This is for people who are ready to transform. Hi, Dennis. Thank you for watching. So, did you know that you are your own judge, your own executioner, and your own participant all in one? You set your goals, you set your decisions, and when you don't achieve your goals, you're the one who is penalizing yourself. You're probably talking to yourself worse than your worst enemy. Why do you do that to yourself? What kind of story are you telling yourself? Are you telling yourself, like, are there villains? Do you feel you are a victim? Do you feel that life is happening to you? That you are being punished for something? Do you feel that like that? Do you feel that you are a good person and why do bad things happen to you? Because what happens in reality is the story that you tell yourself is the life you are living. Because your mind always wants to confirm to you what is going on. So if you tell yourself, I'm fat, you're gonna gain weight. Because your mind, your unconscious mind, always wants to prove to you, to give you validations, confirmations in life that what you are thinking about, what you're experiencing, it will give you evidence in your life and situations, opportunities, and people that you meet, and challenges that you face are all coming as a result of your story, the story that you tell yourself. Because everything around you, the way it all works is we are all mirrors of each other. So the people who come in your life, they reflect the internal representation of what is going on inside of you. If you and the partners that are entering your life, and let's say you become married and you have a relationship, they are just a reflection of who you are on the inside. And so how do you go about changing your story? Well, it can be first a simple, I call it, thing that you can think about is first recognizing that the life you're living today, something is not working, something is not right. First step is always acknowledgement that what is happening is not up to your expectations. And another thing to mention also, and I call it, the story, you cannot fix it right away, but everything begins with a simple step. Because what happens is the way a mind works, the way it's set up, and it's not good or bad, it just is. There are filters, there are programs, there are models that we have inherited from when we were very young. That's one way of inheriting those filters and programs, because we come into this world as a blank slate. Look at a baby, for example. When they are little, when they're very tiny, they receive their life unconditionally. They don't think about, oh, the parent didn't sleep or they're tired. The baby cries and it expects to be fed, nourished, handled, appreciated. They don't think about, oh, maybe I should kind of not cry now, maybe I should cry later because my parents are tired. And it's just like one example. They come into this world as a blank slate and they experience love unconditionally and they express it unconditionally. And us, through the series of experiences that happen in our life, through series of situations and events. So once, first we receive our filters and modeling from our parents, from our caregivers, from the education system. And then as we grow older, an experience enters our life, and then we have an outcome of that experience. And how, I don't know who said it, but the way life happens is 20% is actual fact of what happened, and 80% is how we react to what happened. The story that we tell ourselves about what happened. So let's say there was a situation, there was an event, there was a divorce, or there was a separation or a breakdown. And yes, it happened, and it's painful, and it's sad, and you feel depressed, and you feel stressed. But the outcome, how quickly you're gonna recover, or how much time it will take you to process it, it all depends on the story that you tell yourself. Do you feel not good enough? Do you feel unworthy somehow because your partner left you, or because the relationship broke apart? Do you feel not good enough? And the story, that everything that you tell yourself after that, so it could be like one thought, one pattern that you start thinking about and talking about in your head, and then you create a whole another dimension with your thoughts and your feelings and emotions, and you dig yourself in a deeper hole. The more you thinking in those negative patterns, or like I'm a victim, I'm not good enough. And that's where I was. After I became a single parent when my son was born and my daughter was 5 years old, and I felt not good enough, I felt broken, I felt depressed. To the outside world, I would plaster on and smile and go through my day and fulfill my daily obligation, but inside I wasn't whole. Inside I was broken. Inside I felt a deep hole form inside of me. And I often wondered, is this what life all about? Just fulfilling your daily obligations, not being present, not being where you are? And wondering, am I not good enough? What's wrong with me? I look at other people, everybody is married, they all look on the outside like happy families, but when I look at myself, I was an outlier, because everybody in the immediate community, in the immediate family, everybody is together. And so I started thinking, am I not good enough? And that's where I was. But this is no way to live your life, because if you have those thoughts, if you have those feelings, you just dig a deeper hole for yourself down the line. So it's important to recognize what is that story you tell yourself. Examine your life, not just let your life pass you by, but have you ever actually sat down and thought about, how you call it, what is your life about? How is your life going? Because oftentimes what happens is we go through life motionless. As kids, we grew up and we have these expectations. Then when we are little, you go to school, you start a family. First you get a job, then you start a family, and then you work until you retire, and the end. And oftentimes we go through life without even thinking, is this actually serving me? Is this going in the right direction? Is this something worthwhile? So when you start, and oftentimes what it takes is some tragic, some event, because when you grow up, when you're a little kid, you have a fairy tale fantasy of how life is supposed to unfold. And you're not prepared to dealing with negative emotions or breakups or stress. You're not prepared for that. And what happens in that time is that you start analyzing, what is your life all about if you didn't have that perfect fairy tale? Because what happens is you have an idea in your head, which is one idea, and then you have reality. And when there is a mismatch between idea in your head and reality, you start developing this, breakdown, or this depressive thoughts and feelings, and start analyzing and evaluating your life. What is what is going on? This is not the story I wanted to live. And then you start observing, but why does it have to get us to a negative event, to a negative circumstance, to trauma or some kind of a breakup, to start looking at our life and experiencing, is this how it's supposed to go? We don't need to go there. We can start sooner. We can start protecting our mind sooner from negative people, from negative emotions and negative situations. and creating that environment that you want to live in, creating your life by your terms, having the boundaries, having things that are non-negotiable. What are some of the things that are non-negotiable that must happen for you? What are some of those things? Do you know them? Do you listen to tiny bells when they go off in your head, when something doesn't go right? Or do you let them pass you by? Because what happens is, if something triggers you, if there is an emotion or a thought or a feeling that is against your values, that's against who you are, and you let that thing slide because you want to be quiet, you don't want to quarrel about it, you don't want to make a big deal about it, if you let it go, a year later you're going to turn around, look at yourself, and you're not going to recognize yourself anymore. Who is this person that allowed this to happen? What are they doing? You're not going to recognize yourself. And in the process, in the long term, you will lose your identity. You're going to forget who you are, and you're going to become this person that allows things to happen that should never be allowed to happen. So change your story, change your life. The things you tell yourself matter. What you tell yourself matters, because your life is always going to give you confirmation to the thing that you place most importance on. I give you one example that can be relatable. Let's say you want to go get a new car, and you decided on the model of the car, how the interior is going to look, what's the paint on the outside, and how much it's like, the whole 9 yards. You figure it out. So you go to the dealership, and let's say you picked, I don't know, a black Mercedes, for example, and a certain model, certain make, certain year, and everything. So you go to the dealership, you talk to the salesperson, you talk about the details, you test drive the car, and then you said, I'm gonna think about it. Maybe I'm gonna go check something else out. And you leave. And then everywhere you go, now you're gonna see this exact black Mercedes everywhere around you. And you could start asking, where did this thing came from? All of a sudden, everywhere I look, I see the same car. Why? Simple. You gave a task to your mind. This is what's important now for me. I'm looking for this car. And that's your conscious mind. You set a goal. Your unconscious mind is gonna give everything to you in experiences, people, situations, pictures. Like now, all of a sudden, you see the same car everywhere you go, because your unconscious mind is working for you. As they say, your conscious mind is the goal setter, and your unconscious mind is the goal getter. So now, because there is a lot of information that's going on around you, and we only can consume a tiny bit of that information. Unfortunately, a lot of 20-somethings these days find a lot of distractions, such as relationship, partying, and school stuff, and that distracts us from what we really want, because we are afraid. Afraid of what? What are you afraid of? So, to get back, I called what I was saying. The car, you study things more realistic than following your passion, so you find distractions to numb. Well, I think we all should follow our passions. And I know how I call it, in life and in the world, we always think what's practical. So give you an example. A lot of people go into the law profession because law is it feels so, I'm gonna get to that question in a second. But I call it, lawyers, they become a lawyer, let's say, because it's paid highly. And what happens is, if you look at statistics, there are 50% of those lawyers, they commit suicide. They have suicidal thoughts. Because yes, it's a high-paying job. It pays you great money, but on the inside, are you really happy? Are you loving what you're doing? Because if you're not, you're just burning yourself. You're burning your life away. And I know how difficult and how scary it can be, but you said afraid of failing at something you love. But what have you got to lose? If we change our mindset about there is no failure in life, everything is a feedback. If you think about it that way, because failure, what it gives us, and as little kids, we have this also installed from our caregivers. It's not good to fail. You have to get the best grade every single time. Or let's say you be getting all the good grades and all of a sudden you get a bad grade, you're gonna be penalized for that. Oftentimes the negative things is highlighted and the positive is always diminished. And even in your brain, even in your memory, if you recall a situation from your past life, how many good situations can you remember? Oftentimes when we are asked, we remember the bad stuff and we dismiss the good stuff. We don't appreciate the good stuff that we have in our life until something happens that causes you to lose that good thing. Can tell about myself. I dislocated my knee, and I didn't care about, not so much about, it's walking. It's a simple act of walking. How difficult is that? But it's something so little, so inconsequential that you dismiss it, you take it for granted, but in reality, it's something that you need every single day, just like breathing air. Have you thought about what it takes for you to breathe? Have you thought about all of the magnificent systems that you have in your body that allow you to take a breath every morning or to drink a glass of water? We take it all for granted. We only concentrate on the things, or we only start appreciating something when we lose that. What if it doesn't have to be that way? What if you wake up in the morning and you decide to have a great day for yourself? What if you wake up in the morning and you ask yourself, what are 3 things I'm grateful for? Maybe there is roof over your head, or maybe there is food on the table, or the fact that you woke up today. It means that your life is still not finished. It means that there is still something for you to do. There is still a purpose in you being alive. Oftentimes what happens, we forget our dreams. We don't follow our dreams. Because we are afraid to fail. And another thing is, if you remember when you're a little child, you dream all the time. You can ask little kid, like, who do you want to be when you grow up? And then instantly they have an answer, or they have a million of different ideas. And what happens as we grow older? We have more responsibilities on top of other responsibilities. And we become this person, this thing that now dreaming is for kids. Like I am like old now, I'm supposed to forget about that. But meanwhile, did you know that the most rich place on earth, where do you think that is? It's the cemetery. Why? Because it's all those people who took their ideas to the grave. Maybe they had cancer research idea, or maybe they had some great I don't know, progress about something, and they were afraid. They were afraid to fail. They were afraid to speak up. They were afraid to make the first step. What if you think about it, and think about Edison, Thomas Edison, who created the light bulb. Did you know he had to fail 10,000 times before the light bulb was born? What happens if he would given up after the first try? Would we still have light today? What do you think of that? Right? If we look at life as if there is no failure, only feedback, then every chance in the morning when you wake up, every chance you get an opportunity to live your life, to do something different, to do it better. Every morning when you wake up, it's called a present. Why is it a present? It's a gift. The fact that you woke up and you're breathing in the life today, it's a gift. And oftentimes we miss this gift. We miss the present moment because we are rushing through life. We're fulfilling obligations. We're ticking boxes off. We're rushing to our death. And we miss our life. Did you know that the longest, in Japan, it's the longest living people live there because why? They practice the art of Kaizen, which one of the components of Kaizen is purpose, having purpose. Do you know your purpose? So people there, they don't retire, or they still feel that zest for life when they wake up because they have a purpose of why they do something. So I don't know how Sahjit Sandhu, I don't know how old you are, but you have a whole life in front of you. You can try something and see how it will go. Because if you don't try, I call it, do you want to live your life with regret? When you get to the end of your life, do you want to have regrets, or do you want to experience and have that movie in your head how many awesome things you get to do during your life? That you went after your dreams, that you tried that thing, and yeah, maybe it failed. All of the great entrepreneurs, they all try. I don't have an example, I can't remember the name, but they all try different things to see how it will go. And then if it fails, they try another one and another one and another one. Because life is a series of discoveries. It's not a stagnant thing that you wake up in the morning and you just do your thing and then you go to bed. Don't you want to have an experience of life, so that you feel alive and present to where you are? That you feel alive, that you have something to remember. So practicing to get back to where we started about changing your story and changing your life. My idea, my 3 words are live, dream, and grow. And live is about having that zest for life, doing something that fills your soul, and not just simply living, but feeling amazing, feeling great, being energetic, and having that sense of purpose, that you are alive and you're doing amazing things. And you don't have to go and fly to the moon. It could be on a smaller scale, but something that you can change, you can grow. So the way we live our life, it's the story that we tell ourselves when no one is watching, it's not about what you tell others, it's within yourself. When no one is watching, what do you tell to yourself? Are you your own best friend, or are you your own worst enemy? How do you see that? If you had a best friend and they had some negative event happen in their life, how would you encourage them? What would you tell them? Would you be their best confidant? Would you tell them what they should be doing, and not in a negative, criticizing way? Oh, you didn't do that, or you didn't do that, but in a positive, I call it, manner that is beneficial, that they can get to their own insight. Why don't you do that for you? When you're in that situation, when you're in that situation and you need that support, why don't you be your own best friend? Be your own cheerleader. Nobody's gonna come say, oh, thank you, you're doing so amazing. And sometimes you need to hear that. You need to hear how awesome you are, how amazing you are, how many things you have overcome, and where you are today. You need to recognize the small wins that happen along your life. And you need to be your own cheerleader. Because nobody is coming to save you. You can save yourself. Because for the longest time, I was waiting for someone come and rescue me, to pick up the pieces and carry me away, but nobody came. And so I needed to become my own savior, my own cheerleader, to pick up the pieces of my broken self, put it back together, and allowed me to be here today talking to you. I'm an introvert. And look at me doing a live video. So the story that you tell yourself And I used to tell myself, I am an introvert, I am an introvert, and this is, I got confirmation everywhere I went. But what if you tell yourself something else? What if you tell yourself you are confident, you are energetic, you are joyous? Did you know that the most powerful words in the English language is what follows the I am? Whatever you say after I am is so powerful, because every time you speak, you give instructions to your unconscious mind. By the way, they unconscious mind take everything literally, doesn't process negatives. So if you want to say, I don't want to be poor, you will get the poor and you're not going to get the don't. So always be mindful what you tell yourself. A good exercise you can do is reflect about your life. Write it out and see what kind of life you want to live. Who are you as a person? How are you feeling? Where are you living? What are you doing with your time? Who are you spending your time with? Who are the people that inspire you? And write that story for yourself. And then recite it daily. And see what happens. Because you can change your life by changing the things you tell yourself. Because your unconscious mind always gonna give you confirmation for what is important, for what it is that you are doing, how you are living. You will always get the confirmation every single time. So if you find this message beneficial, feel free to share with a friend. I will be back tomorrow for more Breakup Recovery series and everything that has to do with breakup, mindset, self-love, positive living, energetic living, and well-being. If you're ready to transform, if you're ready to change, I'm also opening my coaching, and the coaching spots are limited. So if you are curious, you can reach out, you can DM me for a free discovery session to see how we can work together. Until tomorrow, have an amazing day. Remember that you are limitless. It's never too late to change. It's never too late to start. As long as you accept and realize where you are today and realize the fact that whatever life you have today is not working, you can change. It's the difficult thing you will do, but it's the most profound thing for your life. So have an amazing rest of your Thursday, and I will see you tomorrow for more Breakup Recovery series with Irina. You can DM me if you have any questions. You can feel free to drop them in the comments, and I will get back to you. Thank you so much.